What if I told you there is a hidden corner of Europe where the call to prayer has echoed through the mountains for 600 years, yet the world acts as if it doesn't exist? Welcome to the Balkans, a region of jagged mountains, turquoise rivers, and cities that feel like crossroads of civilizations. Here, Islam is not an imported religion. It has been woven into the stone, the culture, and the hearts of the people for generations. From the Ottoman bridges of Mostar to the mosques of Tirana, the landscape carries whispers of a past that is both European and deeply Islamic. In countries like Bosnia and Herzegovina, the story is most vivid. The Bosniaks, indigenous Slavic Muslims, have lived here for centuries, praying toward Mecca while speaking European languages, practicing a faith that connects them to a world far beyond the mountains. They are often called white Muslims, a term that shatters every stereotype. Picture a person with blue eyes and Slavic features speaking a European tongue, yet bowing their head in sujood. They are the living proof that Islam is not a race, but a heartbeat that can belong to any soil. Yet this rich history hides a paradox. The Balkans have always been a crossroads of empires and conflict, where religion and politics collided. But the mystery goes deeper. Long before the Ottomans arrived, these mountains were home to the Bogomils, a mysterious sect of Christians who rejected the Trinity and were persecuted by Rome. When they finally met the Muslims, they didn't see an invader. They saw a reflection of their own belief in one God. This is the secret origin of the Bosnian soul. They survived centuries of Ottoman retreat, nationalist uprisings, and foreign occupation, holding on to traditions that many outsiders would call fragile, but which proved resilient. Walking through Sarajevo today, you can see the layers of history: Ottoman bazaars, socialist blocks, bullet-scarred walls. Minarets rise beside churches, standing as quiet defiance against time, war, and erasure. The Balkans are a place where Islam is not new, not foreign. It is part of the soil itself. But here's the question for you. How would a community survive when the world around it sees its faith as a threat? When every empire, every regime, and every war tried to erase it? How do you preserve your religion, your culture, and your identity? The answer is both human and extraordinary. Through centuries of adaptation, education, and spiritual resilience, the Bosniaks and Muslims across the Balkans developed a model of survival that is deeply European and unmistakably Islamic. Their story is a reminder that faith is not just a belief system, it is a living, breathing identity that can endure even in the most hostile conditions. From the snow-capped peaks to the bustling river valleys, the Balkans carry the echoes of a civilization that refused to vanish. And yet, many of these histories remain hidden, overlooked by the world. The story of the Bosniaks is not only one of survival, it's a testament to the unbroken spirit of Islam in Europe. The history of the Balkans is written in blood, stone, and the quiet resilience of its people. For centuries, the Bosniaks have stood at the crossroads of empires: Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, and later the fractured states of Yugoslavia. Each shift brought new pressures, new laws, and new dangers. Islam, for the Bosniaks, was never just a personal faith. It became a lifeline, a thread connecting generations through times of upheaval and persecution. In the 19th century, as the Ottoman Empire retreated,
the Balkans were transformed. Nationalist movements surged, and Muslims became minorities in lands they had called home for centuries. Their mosques were targeted, their schools threatened, and their communities marginalized. Yet, instead of fleeing, they adapted. Madrasas became centers of education, preserving Islamic scholarship even as political borders changed. Libraries and manuscripts were hidden, safeguarded from destruction. Faith became both shield and compass, guiding daily life in uncertainty. The greatest test arrived in the 1990s during the collapse of Yugoslavia. The Bosnian War was not a generic conflict. It was an existential battle over identity. In the 1990s, the silence of the Bosnian mountains was broken. Cities like Srebrenica didn't just witness war, they witnessed an attempt to delete a people from history. Imagine the sound of 500-year-old minarets being dynamited into dust, and the cold realization that your neighbor has suddenly become your captor. Thousands of men and boys were executed, families were displaced, and centuries-old mosques were reduced to rubble. The world watched, often in silence, as one of modern Europe's darkest chapters unfolded. And yet, even amid this systematic erasure, the Bosniaks survived. Mothers hid children in forests while reciting prayers under the shadow of danger. Grandfathers memorized the Quran when every written copy had been destroyed. Communities improvised, turning ruins into schools, streets into safe havens, and surviving mosques into symbols of defiance. Every whispered prayer, every secretly shared iftar meal became an act of courage. Even in modern Bosnia, the scars remain. Bullet-ridden walls, ruined bridges, and neighborhoods divided by memory tell the story of past horrors. Yet life continues. Children run past rebuilt minarets, young Muslims attend Juma prayers in modern dress, and artisans fill bazaars with color and life. Across the Balkans, from Albania to Bosnia, from mountain villages to capital streets, faith is lived quietly, resiliently, and defiantly. The Bosniaks' experience in the 20th century is a masterclass in adaptation. They took centuries-old rituals, knowledge, and faith and preserved them in the face of bullets, propaganda, and displacement. Their survival is not accidental. It is a deliberate, courageous act of cultural and spiritual preservation.
The Balkans are a crucible of history where identity and faith collide. Yet, even under siege, the Muslims of this region transformed conflict into resilience, destruction into reconstruction, and persecution into a living, breathing heritage. Today, the Balkans tell a story of survival, faith, and quiet resilience. From the snow-capped peaks of Bosnia to the rolling hills of Albania, the Bosniaks and other Balkan Muslims are living proof that identity cannot be erased. They endured centuries of shifting empires, ethnic cleansing, and political upheaval, yet they rebuilt their communities, mosques, and schools, ensuring that Islam remains intertwined with European heritage. In Sarajevo, the rhythm of daily life blends history and modernity. Children run past minarets reconstructed from war rubble, learning prayers that echo the devotion of ancestors. Cafes hum with conversation in Bosnian, Albanian, and Turkish, where families discuss school, work, and faith. Markets overflow with fresh produce, spices, and textiles, a testament to endurance and the everyday continuity of culture. These small acts, often overlooked, are the heartbeats of a community that refuses to vanish. In rural Balkan villages, traditions flourish quietly. Weddings, Ramadan fasts, and Eid prayers continue with reverence. The call to prayer rises over valleys that once echoed with gunfire, carrying stories of ancestors who survived with courage and conviction. Here, the Bosniaks maintain practices unique to their heritage, recipes preserved for centuries, ceremonial observances adapted to local life, and a communal sense of protection for one another. Even under external pressures or political tension, the bonds of faith and family remain unbroken. The survival of Balkan Muslims is not just a tale of endurance, it is a lesson in adaptation. They transformed centuries-old rituals into living practices that could withstand displacement, war, and cultural marginalization. Eid celebrations may now occur in smaller gatherings, and mosques rebuilt from ashes stand alongside modern buildings, but the essence remains unchanged: gratitude, reflection, and community. These spaces, whether an urban mosque, a village courtyard, or a family home, serve as reminders that faith is not only a personal act, but a shared lifeline connecting generations. Yet, despite centuries of perseverance, challenges persist. Political uncertainty, social marginalization, and misrepresentation in global discourse continue to test the Balkans' Muslim communities. And still, they endure, not by force, but by conviction. Their identity is neither foreign nor imported. It is deeply European and profoundly Muslim, a bridge that connects East and West while resisting erasure. If the story of the Bosniaks and Balkan Muslims resonates with you, join us in uncovering more hidden histories. Subscribe now and explore untold stories of resilience, faith, and culture across the world. Witness communities that survive against all odds, proving that identity and tradition can withstand even the most destructive forces. The Balkans are a reminder that empires can rise and fall, and maps can be redrawn, but the truth of the heart is the only thing history cannot execute. The white Muslims are still here, and they aren't going anywhere.